Would you rather only communicate with clients through phone calls or only through text?
Phone calls.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I'm old school like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just get on a call with somebody, you know? Some people are like, I don't like talking to people. I just think if you try and do everything through text, as we've found as a company and as we've found with all of our clients we work with, stuff is bound to get lost in translation and you can't really speak with the tone of voice that you would like to. Sometimes people think you're being short with them. And yeah, I think if you have a problem or there's a fire with a client, a text message is not going to suffice.
Yeah, I agree.
Welcome to the Top Dog Mindset Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of running a successful dog training business. I'm your host, Kevin, joined by my co-host, Angel. Together, we bring you expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to provide you with the necessary information to build a thriving dog training company. So relax, join us with a cup of coffee as we explore the Top Dog Mindset Podcast.
All right, welcome in everybody to another episode of the Top Dog Mindset Podcast. Kevin and Angel here, and today we're going to be covering a couple of different questions that I think will be just kind of interesting to start a conversation, and I feel like it'll just be good for us to kind of branch off of these. So without further ado, Angel, why don't you kind of lead us out here? And what is the first question you have on the list?
Yeah, so the first question is, so these are all would you rather questions, by the way. Would you rather rank number one on Google or have 100,000 local followers?
What is your answer to this?
I would rather rank number one on Google.
Okay, interesting. I was going to say the other one. So now we can like fiercely debate this. So what is your thinking behind that?
Well, when I think of ranking number one on Google, I think of all of the things that it takes to rank number one, and like having a lot of really good reviews is one of those things. And then when you're running Google ads, when you rank really high like that, it's just going to help with getting more leads. When I think of having a lot of followers is like, I mean, I feel like that could happen for a couple different reasons, but like social media being a big thing these days, like people putting out a lot of good content and stuff like that. There could be a lot of people who are following, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's someone that would turn into a client, versus when you're ranking really high on Google, that's just going to help when someone is like actively searching for your services. They're looking for you. Again, with having followers, sometimes it's just people enjoying your content.
All right, you've convinced me. I think there's a couple different factors here. And the first one is, search volume can change throughout the time of year. And, I think it all depends on how you define ranking number one. So to me, it sounds like you're defining ranking number one as like number one in the map pack with the most reviews, showing up first. You're showing up organically. Your ads are showing up and stuff like that. I think that with that will, that brings in really high intent leads. The only thing that I'd say building a really good audience does for you is it allows you to like have more control. And so what I mean by that is like, if you're ranking on Google and just you let's just talk about a theoretical world here in which like you show up first everywhere, right? For all the keywords that you want to show up for and stuff like that. But if the phone is not ringing just because search volume during that time of year has dipped for whatever reason, which is not really common to begin with, but just again, being theoretical here. If you have built an audience, you can really like hit those people up and be way more proactive about pursuing business. Do you know what I mean? Like you can just start messaging people and just starting conversations with them, asking what kind of dog do you have? Have you guys ever done any training before? Have you been, are you getting any value out of my content, and kind of be able to like really start just generating momentum from that. And so I feel like one strategy, although really good because it brings in leads, is a little bit more like reactive, and the other one is a little bit more proactive. And so it's funny, before we started this podcast, I was like, I asked you, are we asking these questions in the terms of growing a dog training business or a business as a whole? And obviously, this is a dog training marketing podcast, which kind of makes that a stupid question. But the reason I asked that is because, our company, for example, most of our clients, if not all, that outside of word of mouth referrals have come from us kind of like having to really reach out to people, start conversations and stuff like that. And so in the agency world, that's way more normal to have to do cold outreach. But for small businesses, like localized businesses, having the opportunity of Google is great. But this is
Mhm.
why, to me, it's good to have a combined strategy, because if you can post on social media, gain a following, have a really, a list of people that like was really interested in what you have to say, and they follow you because they like what you have to say, then you're going to also focus on the Google stuff, get those leads coming in. But you can also, when things are slow, and you shouldn't even wait for it to get slow to do this, but you can be more proactive, go out and like drum up business instead of like waiting on a different platform to send you business. You see what I'm getting at?
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So what
All
do we have
right.
next?
So, second question, would you rather lose your website or lose your Google business profile?
I would say the website,
Me too.
because I think for most people, losing 55-star reviews is a really painful thing. And especially with the way that the Google algorithm is working nowadays, where they've really cracked down on what reviews they show and, how they prove if something's real or fake and stuff like that. It's getting harder to get legitimate reviews. And yeah, I think that losing your website, you can build a new website, you can write more copy. Getting clients to leave you legitimate reviews that's a little bit more difficult to pull off.
Yeah, for sure. All right. The third one, would you rather spend $10,000 on marketing or $10,000 on hiring?
It depends on the phase of the business. If you're not getting enough business coming in, then clearly marketing. But if you have more
Mhm.
leads than you know what to do with, then building out a sales team and like a real sales process is going to be the answer. But I
Yeah.
think Warren Buffett said one time, like, you can never spend enough money on advertising. And I think he was talking about, investing in Geico, the company, if I'm remembering correctly, and how much money somebody asked him, like, can you believe how much money they spend on ads with like their gecko, and stuff like that and all those ads. And he's like, you can just never spend enough money on advertising.
Mhm.
And so I think for most of us, the answer is like we could all benefit from advertising more.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, my first thought was I'd spend it on hiring. It makes
Wow.
sense that it just depends
We are
that it
very
just
disagreeable today.
it makes sense that it really depends on what phase of your business you're in, but
Mhm.
yeah, my first thought was spending it on hiring, but I think that was my first thought because I'm also, like, relating a lot of the things that we hear with our clients and being a bit fearful on hiring and, like, I'm too much of a control freak, I wanna do all of this myself, and maybe once they see what needs to go into hiring, they're like, "Oh, that's just not worth it, like, I'd rather do everything on my own."
Mhm.
But if you're in a position where you need to hire and you need to start like building a team, if that's, inevitably the type of business you want to have is where you have like a full team and you just were like given the money to invest into hiring a team, people would definitely do it and definitely see how much it helps and how much it can actually help your business grow. So I think that's why I had that answer is I'm trying to relate it to like some of the fears and struggles that we've heard before on hiring.
Yeah, and you know what I think the real answer is? You should spend money to hire somebody who can do marketing. Now, luckily for you
Yeah.
guys, that's exactly what we do. So feel free to send in an inquiry. But honestly, I feel like that's if you do not have enough business coming in, that is the first thing that you should spend your money on is advertising.
Mhm.
I have so many conversations just throughout the week where I talk to people and they're like, I just don't get enough business. And it's like, well, what kind of ads are you running? I'm not doing anything. It's all word of mouth referrals. And so when you really break it down for people, that makes sense. But I feel like we all get in our own ways in our business and we get very close to a dollar and, nothing's a guaranteed thing. And, what if I spend money on ads and it doesn't work? But the truth is, I would say for Top Dog advertising, outside of like, I've never seen it not work for people who are willing to do a couple things. If you answer your phone and do consultations, like if you're open to doing those two things, as silly as that sounds, you'll make money from ads.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
can't really think of an instance where we've ever run ads and just no leads came in. Like that's never been a thing. And so as long as you have a good strategy, it's not a matter of if it's going to work. It's just a matter of like how you're going to make it work for yourself.
Yeah. All right. Next, would you Would you rather lose all of your reviews or lose your email list?
I would say for dog training businesses, nobody does anything with their list anyway, so just ditch the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some people really hammer it, but email response rate is so low anyway that to even think like, oh, I have a list of 1,000 people, I'm going to send out this email and I'm going to get a response for someone who wants to sign up. It doesn't really work like that. So yeah, I mean, I would say keep your reviews.
Would you rather only communicate with clients through phone calls or only through text?
Phone calls.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I'm old school like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just get on a call with somebody, Some people are like, I don't like talking to people. I just think if you try and do everything through text, as we've found as a company and as we've found with all of our clients we work with, stuff is bound to get lost in translation and you can't really speak with the tone of voice that you would like to. Sometimes people think you're being short with them. And yeah, I think if you have a problem or there's a fire with a client, a text message is not going to suffice.
Yeah, I agree. And I already knew what your answer was going to be for this, but I think it's just helpful for people to hear this because we tell people this all the time, like just call them back. Or they text you and they're like, I don't know, even if a client or a lead, I should say, texts you with like, well, I have to talk to so and so, just give them a call because that could turn into like a whole conversation. Yeah. So we've got one more. Would you rather have 50 qualified leads or 5 guaranteed sales?
50 qualified leads for 5 guaranteed sales. What are we selling a program for?
We'll say 4,000.
Dang. Okay. I would take the 50 qualified leads.
Same.
It's not like I was talking to one of our clients, Bethany, yesterday, and she's like, we know this is why it's so important to know your numbers in business because she was like, we know that 80% of our leads that come through, we set for consultations. And then they close 60 to 70% of their consults. So if we're saying it's a $4,000 program, let's say 50 leads, right? Times 0.8. I can't do math. I should have been able to do that in my head. That's 40 consults, right? And if we even just say times 0.6 on the lower end, that's 24 sales times 4,000. You just made $96,000 in a month. And yeah, this is just a good reminder. Like business is all just one big numbers game. And as soon as you start looking at it from the emotional standpoint of like, oh, this person called and they didn't buy, and then the next person, same thing, you can start to make really poor decisions in your business because you start to think that everything is that way when it was just 2 people out of 50 and they just happen to be back to back. Now that's obviously a very exaggerated version of probably what's going on. But the point is, most times when we talk to the clients that we work with, they think that they have a sales problem or they think that the leads aren't qualified or something like that when they first get started. And they overqualify during the appointment setting process. And when we give them, we really press them a little bit on like, hey, don't wait for like the lead to come through that's a unicorn. Just book as many consultations as you can and the sales will follow. All of a sudden, all the people that were like unqualified that they get in front of and start doing sales appointments with, they close 70% and they're selling them on programs that are anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. And yeah, I mean, you can wait for the perfect prospect to come along, or you can turn an average prospect into the perfect prospect by shifting their mindset and their beliefs about their dog and like what training should look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like some people
ask the question and tell the people what my answer is.
Would you rather have AI run your marketing or your customer service? Run your marketing / business. I feel like you would say customer service. The reason why I ask is because I feel like people can be like AI having a lot of automations and stuff like that comes in very handy. Like we have automations set up with Alfred, our CRM, for our clients, but I feel like in some cases people are really trying to completely get, maybe not like completely get away, but they're trying to get as much put in place to automate everything as possible, feeling like that's going to help them grow in their business, when in some cases I feel like it can be more detrimental because you're just completely taking away any type of like human touch. You're making the person who is looking for a service, you're making them just jump through so many different loopholes to eventually speak to an actual human being. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I already know your answer, but I think it's customer service.
Well, I just want to make sure I fully understand. You're saying, would I rather have AI take over the customer service or the marketing?
No, would you rather have AI take over all of that, or basically a team is what I'm getting at? Do you want humans or you want AI?
Yeah, I want humans, you know? It's funny, like,
Yeah.
every time I implement some sort of AI in our business to try and, like, make us more efficient, somebody will inevitably make the joke of, like, "It's not coming from my job," type of thing.
Mhm.
And I am just saying this right now that, like, I am fully committed, and this is not me trying to sound like a super virtuous person. I think this is, like, the way that everybody should look at this, but I'm committed to being pro-human. And I think that, like, people who are, like, willing to just, get rid of people in their company, especially smaller businesses where they know these people, they know their families, and they're like, "I can find an AI to do this for $200 a month." It's just like, man, that is so dorky to me. It's like use the AI to be a tool to help grow the business and help facilitate and make your team better. But trying to just be like, hey, sorry guys, something that came along that can just replace you overnight. It's just, what are you putting the priority on in your life? Is like, it starts to ask the question of like, are you way more obsessed with money than you are with like relationships? And
Mhm.
I've seen people do that, and I really think that this will all come first full circle. People who are super bullish right now on AI and replacing jobs will probably come back full circle in a way and be like, I actually just like having a human being do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not the type of person who would like want to, and I just think there's a big difference between a young startup tech company using AI to do their customer service versus Top Dog Advertising using it to do their customer service, or Joe's Plumbing, or ABC Dog Training. Because it's one thing for like a tech company to adopt it because you go like, oh, that makes sense. Of course, this AI tech company is using AI to do their stuff. It would be weird if they didn't do that, because
Mhm.
they wouldn't be practicing what they're preaching. But right now, when people are like, hey, I just want to have AI answering my calls, and it's like some 78-year-old woman in Fayetteville, North Carolina is not going to be thrilled when she calls a dog training company
Mhm.
and some sort of robot is talking to her. You're deluding
Yeah.
yourself into thinking that that's going to be acceptable to her. They want to talk to a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So I'll get off my AI tangent. I got a couple questions here. Are we cool? Off a couple of my own questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Would you rather always have to sing everything you say or dance everywhere you walk?
Probably dance everywhere I walk.
Wow. Yeah. Singing everything you say is very cringy. I'm not going to lie. That would be hard to do. I would say dance everywhere I walk too. Would you rather have fingers as long as your legs or legs as short as your fingers?
Probably
Fingers as long as your legs. I'd have to just be a short king.
yeah,
I'd just
those would
have
be
to have like
long.
fingers. You have 10 legs hanging off your hands.
Yeah, I just have short legs.
Yeah. Yeah, you just become a short king. It's all good. Or queen. Would you rather have to fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
One horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
You'd end it. Yeah, go ahead. I know you've put a lot of thought into this.
I feel like I would rather fight off 100 duck size. Can you imagine a horse-sized duck with like its big old bill just like
I think I could get on that
pinching
thing's
you?
back and choke it out. Like, I'd rather have to tackle one beast than 100. 100. It's like the question of like, do you think that you could take 100 5-year-olds in a fight, or you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I just think that like the sheer manpower, you would just get overpowered. At a certain point,
Yeah.
you'd have like 100 or like 75 mini horses piled on top of you, and you're done.
Yeah. Like a mini stampede.
All right. Would you rather sneeze glitter every time you sneeze or have your laugh sound like a foghorn every time you laugh?
I'd rather sneeze glitter.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get 3 more and then we'll be done. Would you rather I have to read these real quick before so I don't say anything totally inappropriate. Would you rather have your thoughts broadcast live as subtitles on your forehead or
No.
have your farts sound like applause?
I definitely do not want my thoughts on my forehead.
Yeah, so that only leaves you with one answer.
Yeah, I guess.
Would you rather smell like onions but not be able to smell it yourself, or
Ooh.
constantly smell onions on everyone else while you smell fine?
Mm.
This says a lot about you as a person, like how sacrificial are you willing to be?
I'd rather smell onions. I'd rather everyone around me smell like onions.
Yeah, I think that you would probably tune it out at a certain point if everyone smelled like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Would you rather have a tiny, useless third arm that only does the jazz hands motion, or a tail that wags uncontrollably whenever you get happy? Where's the third arm? Is it coming out of the middle of your chest?
Yeah, it depends on where
Yeah.
it's located because I could
Yeah.
probably do something about that.
You could tuck that bad boy away.
Tuck it in, wear a jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that.
The arm?
Yeah, the arm.
I feel like you could hide the tail too, though.
Unless if it was like a short, stubby tail, I could hide that maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever seen the movie Shallow Hal?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got a tail in that movie. Yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap it up here, but I hope you guys got some value out of this episode today, more particularly the second half, because I know that this was really informative. But as always, I mean, if there's anything that you guys want to hear us talk about, anything on your minds, definitely leave it down below in the comment section. And we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
Bye, guys.